Alright, welcome back to everybody who watches these videos. Today is Tuesday, August 4th, and today we have some stories that have to do with the Parsha, upcoming Parshas Ekev, and both of the stories have to do with the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. One of them is about the kavana of making brachos on food and water, and another story is also about just in general Yir Shemayim of tzaddikim. It's very interesting stories. So let's just begin. So it says like this. First of all, it says in the pasuk "V'chalta v'savachta v'savato berachtas Hashem." Right? It says in the pasuk in this week's parsha that you should eat and you should be satisfied and you will bless Hashem. Okay, so there's a story that the Av Beis Din Kodesh of Lvov, which was in Ukraine, his name was Rav Yosef Shol Nathanson. Okay, and he said over a story to his Talmidim about the Baal Shem Tov that he heard. So one time there was a story about the Baal Shem Tov that the students of the Baal Shem Tov heard. The Baal Shem Tov, one time he let out a big sigh. He sighed, he groaned. And when they asked him about it, he told them a story. There was in this world a Adam Rasha Merusha, was Mamish, a big Rasha, this guy. And because of his many sins, even after he died, his soul was not able to have a tikkun, and he was just floating in between the worlds without any rest. Certain inyanim after death, your soul floats around, different things like that. We're not going to get into that here. Until Hashem had Rahmanas on him, and they made a din that he should be Lizgalgal into a frog. He's going to come back down into this world as a Gilgal inside a frog that's going to hang out in a well in a very faraway land. And if his son comes to this place and he drinks from this well and he makes a bracha with the right kavana, so then the neshama will have a tikkun and it'll be good. So what happened? So the son was first of all very poor. He had no way of traveling out to this faraway place where this thing was. He didn't even know, obviously, to go there, but he didn't have any way of getting there anyway. So what did Hashem do? Hashem made it that the son of this Rasha became a servant for a very, very rich person that was sick. And his doctors commanded this rich guy, to go to a very, very far, to go to this place that's very far away, to go over there because there's better doctors over there, better experts. And he should also drink from this well. And he should drink from this well, I guess where the frog is, that is also meforsim in the world. It's also famous in the world that whoever drinks from this well is mesugel to refuah. It has healing powers in this well. So the rich guy went to this faraway place, and he took this servant with him, who was the son of the frog, the Russian. So one day, the servant went with the Baal Bayis, with his boss, with his master, to get some fresh air. And first of all, I'm saying this son doesn't know that he has to go to this well. Okay, we know, but the son doesn't know, right? So he went out with his master, and all of a sudden he got taken by such a big thirst, like he thought he was going to die. And they right away came to this place of this well, and his father was there as a frog. And when he came to this Ber Mayim, after everything that happened, that he came to this thing, and he became a servant, and he has to travel far away, everything like that, because he was so thirsty, he forgot to make the bracha kedin. And he drank without a bracha, and therefore the Rasha was not zeicha to come to his tikkun after all these adventures. And this was the reason of this was the reason why the Baal Shem Tov sighed, because he was having tsar on this neshama that he lost his chance to have a tikkun. There's also a very similar story. There's another similar story like this with the Berditcher, but also there's a few similar stories like this. So this guy Rav Nathanson said, he finished and he says, from the day that I heard this story, my custom now is that whenever I have to go to a faraway place, or to Merchtzoyes, Kipikudis, Haroifim, I have to go to a faraway place, or I have to go to wash myself because of the doctors, or drink certain places because of the doctors say, to go to any Mayan, right? It's very possible that there's an animal there or something in the water that is a reincarnation of somebody, and if I make the bracha good, then he'll what's it called? Then he'll have a tikkun. And there's a lot of people who do this. You should know. This is not just a thing. I know people who already think of these things for many years. I mean, obviously, because these guys thought about it, but I know a lot of people who do this. I myself try to do this also. With food, a lot of souls are nisgalgal into food, water, drinks. There's a story, and Rav Nassim talks about that fruits have very high neshamas in them. A lot of neshamas in fruit, and then when you make a bracha on a fruit, you should have extra kavanah to mitake neshamas. So it's a big avodah. It's a cool story. And there's another story with the Baal Shem Tov here about Yerushalayim. There's all these different things. It says in the pasuk that, right? It says ki imli yira Hashem, right? You wanna, all Hashem asks you is just to fear Him, right? So there's a story about the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov's Talmud, the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, was the first Hasidic sefer ever made. And he told over a story one time about how his first journey to the Baal Shem Tov was. So it says like this: Harav Hakadosh Avram Doiv Harav Michamelnik Zichusim Yagid Aleinu. He was the son-in-law of the Toldos Yaakov Yosef. Rav Yaakov Yosef HaKohen. He was the Baal Toldos Yaakov Yosef, right? And he used to eat by his table. And one time, this guy Rav Yaakov Yosef said to his son-in-law, okay, fine. Right, so he says, so the Toldos Yaakov Yosef says, I'm going to tell you the first time I went to the Baal Shem Tov, my teacher, and you'll understand how much Yirah Shamayim he had, and how many things we need to do. And you'll understand how many michsholim, things that need to be fixed, we need to fix before the galus terem hagalus or emes until the truth gets to our eyes. It's an interesting lashon. Okay, basically he says like we need to work on a lot of different things. But anyway, he says, so when we first heard about the Baal Shem Tov, right? We heard about nisim v'neflois, that he did a lot of nisim and wondrous things, right? But right, we need to first go there and see, right? We need to go see what's going on, right? Because you hear a lot of things, but we want to see for ourselves. So we went. The Toldos Yaakov Yosef went, I guess, with somebody else, and nisim v'neflois be'einenu refuos v'lechashem rin. Right, we saw a lot of nisim v'neflois, and he healed people, and all these different things. Avol Torah of Yerushalayim lo reinu v'lo shmanu. We didn't hear any Torah. We didn't see anything that has to do with Yerushalayim. V'amarnu la'azov v'samachim v'lachzor v'bazinu. And when we got there, we said that since we didn't see any Torah in Yerushalayim, we said let's go back home, right? Because we want Torah in Yerushalayim too, not only miracles. And then what happened? As they were about to leave, a poor guy came from a muhsan. I'm not sure what a muhsan is. A guy came from a kfar close to the Baal Shem Tov, a small village, and he asked the Baal Shem Tov to come with him to his house because his son was very sick and he's laying on his deathbed, and there's nothing to do. We don't know how to fix him. We don't know how to take care of him. So the Baal Shem Tov said, okay, let's go. And he commanded his servants to prepare the wagon. Usually he would tell Alexei, prepare the wagons. I don't know if usually when it says the Mishorso is Alexei, the wagon driver. It's a famous guy in the Hasidic world, Alexei. But he used to take it from Yad al-Kfar, and they went and they traveled straight to the village. And we said, okay, you know what, maybe we should go with the Baal Shem Tov. So we asked permission to go with the Baal Shem Tov, and he said okay. And we got on the thing. Right, and on the way, the Baal Shem Tov taught us each one of our shirim that we learned. Hatmidi Baal Peh. He did it Baal Peh. The Val Yilanu, so that we shouldn't have any chas v'chalila bittul Torah machmas nasi. Right? So he taught each of them what they used to learn, I guess, before they came to the Baal Shem Tov. So I guess the Baal Shem Tov was teaching them Torah, so they saw Torah. Okay. So when they got to the Kfar, the Baal Shem Tov went into this house of the guy, and there was a big house. I guess he wasn't really poor. It was just a big house, and the Baal Shem Tov was going back and forth, and he was thinking in his head and all these things. Afterwards, the Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Abayis, who asked the Baal Shem Tov to come, set up a whole table with food, and he invited all of us to eat. Aruchat Tzarayim. V'adayin loy nichnas habesht l'choila shivudelu r'foisui. And the Baal Shem Tov still had not gone into the sick person that he came to, that the guy asked him to come for in the first place. So that's also, they were like, you know, what's going on over here? Right, so we waited to see what the Baal Shem Tov was going to do. We saw that he went to go wash his hands for bread. So we also went to go wash our hands for bread, and we sat down. And after he broke bread, after he made a bracha on the bread, the wife of this guy, basically the mother of this kid who was sick, came in with crying and screams that like now he's even getting worse, the son. He's even sicker. So the Baal Shem Tov still sat there, he didn't do anything. And we just sat and said, what is he going to do? And we also wondered, why is he just sitting there? Right? And while we were sitting there in shock and wondering, the woman came again. He already lost his soul, and he was not in life anymore. And when I heard this, the Toldos Yaakov Yosef says, I jumped out of a window that I was sitting next to, because I'm a Kohen, and Kohen can't be in the same house as a person who's dead. So as I jumped out the window, the Baal Shem Tov got up from his place, and he went into the room for a few minutes, and he came back out, and he said, you should give to the Choyle a little bit of soup, whatever, to give him some strength. And the Baal Shem Tov sat back down at the table. I came, and I realized what was happening. So he said, we saw with our own eyes that the Baal Shem Tov is Mechayim Esim. He brought someone who was dead back to life. And then we had very big fear of the Baal Shem Tov, because he was being able to be someone who was able to bring a person back to life. That's a pretty big thing. But still, Yiras Shamayim we did not see. Right? We still didn't see Yiras Shamayim from the Baal Shem Tov. So, first of all, at this point, I would probably be like, okay, the Baal Shem Tov has Yiras Shamayim, because if he's able to Mechayim Esim, he probably has Yiras Shamayim. But these guys were bigger than me, and they're doing their zachin back then. So Kol Hayom, right? The whole day we were wondering, what's the Baal Shem Tov's koyach? Who's this guy? Right? And then we finally were able to see what type of Yiras Shamayim the Baal Shem Tov had, and we knew who he was. And this was the story. So that evening, we went out from the Kfar to go back to the city, which was Mezhebush, where the Baal Shem Tov lived. And when we got to the city, Ba Halayla, and it was Thursday night, and the Baal Shem Tov had a minog that he would never travel on Fridays. Right? He would never travel on a Friday. He always wanted to be in his house by Thursday night. He did not want to travel on Friday. Right? And when and on the way back to Mezhebush, the wagon got lost in this thick forest. And we were lost for 3-4 hours, and we didn't know what to do. And the horses were going, and the Baal Agal didn't know where to go. And the Baal Shem Tov even took the wagon and tried to say Shemus and different things like that. And we could not figure out the way, right? Right? The Hashem, it says, "Hu nisabasme linag besusim." He tried himself to, drive the horses and to speak to them in their language. We know that the Baal Shem Tov was able to speak to animals as well. But he was not matzliach because Hashem closed the Shari Chachma, the gates of wisdom, in front of him, and he was not able to open up his mouth. Kach halachnu v'te'inu b'derech lo derech v'oidmat v'hashachar yala, and soon the sun was going to come up. Therefore, Baal Shem Tov was very scared because he did not want to travel on Friday. So the Baal Shem Tov had a lot of tsar on this, right? And he saw that this was the Ma'aseh Satan, that the Ma'aseh Satan wanted to be machshel him, that he should travel on Erev Shabbos. So he went down from the wagon, and the Baal Shem Tov went to the thing. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, I had to pause the video for a second. So, as I was saying, that the Baal Shem Tov had a lot of tsar on this. He saw that it was the Ma'aseh Satan that he should travel on Friday. So he went down from the wagon, and he went into the forest to pray to Hashem. We went after him, and he was and the Toldos Yaakov Yosef says that the Baal Shem Tov was in a lot of tsar. Right? He came to one place, and he lay down on the ground, bowed down on the ground, and he cried, and he begged in front of Hashem, that Hashem, you know that everything I do, I only do for you, for Kvod Shimcha Gadol, for the great honor of your name, of your great name, right? To bring your covenant in the world, right? And you know that I made myself a little chumrah, whatever, that I should not travel on Friday, and traveling on Friday for me is like Chil Shabbos Mamish. And please, God of mercy, have mercy on me and take me out of this trap and this badness, and show me the way home before the sun comes up on Friday. And I will not go on the fence that I made for myself. And he said, and he lay down on the ground for an hour, and he was poured out his soul in front of Hashem. Kishein of Zolgo's demois, and he was crying. Right, and he was just davening that he shouldn't even come to be over on this small chumrah that he took upon himself. Not a small chumrah, I'm saying just a chumrah that he took upon himself for Shabbos. And at that moment we saw the greatness of the Baal Shem Tov, how he was so scared, and Yerushalayim, he didn't. There was no trying to get coverage from people. He was in the little forest by himself. You know what I'm saying? He was davening to Hashem that he should not be over on this thing of traveling on Friday, and that's really Yerushalayim. Like this year came from loving Hashem and His Torah, and right then we took upon ourselves. I'm not sure whose we are, but the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, whoever he was with, also took upon themselves that he should be their master. And when he finished up, just to finish the story, when he finished up his tefillah, they got to, they went to the wagon, and they got him, and Baruch Hashem, the horses went on their way, and they got to the city before the sun came up. Baal Shem Tov was not over on his gather of not traveling on Friday. And afterwards, the Toldos Yaakov Yosef had great suffering and great stress on himself that he was choshed the Baal Shem Tov, that he didn't have Yerushalayim. So I came to him, and I wanted to, reveal in front of him my thoughts, to ask him slicha. But before I could even open up his mouth, before I could even open up my mouth, Baal Shem Tov said, "I already know what's in your mind that you want to tell me, and I'll tell you. V'salachti kidvarecha," like it says in the pasuk over there. B'divrei Hashem al Moshe salachti kidvarecha. Baal Shem Tov was big Yerushalayim, and Toldos Yaakov Yosef saw to that. And those are the stories for today. 2 stories about the Baal Shem Tov. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope to see everybody on Thursday again with some more stories and more cool things. Thank you, Hashem. Have a good day.